The Bear Bulls Traders chat room. Glad you guys could join us. Norm, maybe if you could just keep an eye on things for me and make sure that we do go live on YouTube, because I haven't seen the screen change yet, but hopefully it's just slow.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of a lag.
Buddy, in the Bear Bulls Traders. There we go.
Yeah,
Sorry.
we got audio.
Yeah.
So you're good to go.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Good morning, everybody. Wow. Welcome to Wednesday. Yesterday was an interesting day. A couple things I wanted to share with you right off the top this morning. So as we do, we'll go through some of the things we traded yesterday, and we'll take a look at the gappers from this morning, of course, and then we will do our news and set some levels and get ourselves ready for the trading day. So yesterday was interesting in a couple of ways. One, the big news, of yesterday, at least the interesting news to follow, was certainly a stock called APDN. I did not trade it, but it was up 300% yesterday. We are going to talk about that in just a couple of minutes, because you can see it's the biggest stock that's the most losingest. It's the one that's down the most, anyways, on our list this morning. So what goes up must come down. But it was just insanity yesterday. It went up 200%, dropped back to 100%, went up to 300%. Like, it was just, I don't know. That's the type of thing that I generally avoid, because you can lose. It looks at the end of the day like it was an awesome opportunity to make money, but it's also a huge opportunity to lose. So just be careful with those. Yesterday we did trade a couple of things. SE C Limited was a great trade. Andrew took that off the open. If we go back and look at yesterday at the open, there was some great opportunity to take this and take advantage of the increasing price on SE. For the rest of the day, it had some moves. You had to play it off of VWAP, but it was a reasonably good mover. One of the other things that we played here in the room was DXC. Now, there's a lesson in this that I'll share with you from a personal perspective. I used to work for DXC for many years. 18 years I spent with, the precursor to DXC, and I wanted this to go down. It had nothing to do with the technicals or what was happening. I just wanted to see the price decrease, and the news was actually negative on DXC, but defying that news, it went up all day. You can clearly see in the chart, it just went up all day. But I could not readjust my mindset to acknowledge what the technical signals were telling me, that DXC was strong and it wanted to go up. And as such, I shorted this probably about 5 times. I had a big loser off the open, because you can see it basically went straight up. I managed to recover it on some of these pullbacks, so I ended up essentially break even on my DXC trades for the day. But frankly, I played it extremely poorly, just because I could not change my mindset to acknowledge what the chart was clearly telling me, that this thing was going up.
You bring up a very interesting point, Peter, and so I'll just mention something, me personally, specifically. So of all my accounts, non-day trading accounts, I have a number of stocks that I hold, and I have a rule that is pretty hard and fast, that I do not trade any of the securities in those stocks, because obviously if it's in a retirement account, it's a long position. I don't want to be biased in that way. So I a long time ago, I figured it out. I can take these 10 or 15 stocks that I own and throw them out, and not trade them because of that exact bias you're talking about.
Yeah, well, it's a great, I think it's a great thing to have in mind, guys, and we should all think about that. I had a bias, which, again, had nothing to do with the stock itself, but my bias was reinforced by the news. And that made it even worse, because we have to acknowledge that while the news is helpful to understand why something's moving, it doesn't mean the stock is necessarily going to follow the direction you think the news is indicating. There was another one yesterday that I thought was also playing against the news. What was that? Can't remember if it comes to mind there, Norm, but I there was something else that was moving. Was it AMRN, maybe? I don't remember.
I don't know that AMRN was moving against news, but...
No, yeah, maybe not. Anyways, there was one I just remember at pre-market looking and saying it was moving against the news, but it just didn't, and the technicals didn't support it. So you've got to obey, especially if you're intraday trading, what the charts are telling you. So with that, let's take a look at the gappers for this morning. Starting at the top of the list, We'll start with LK, our Chinese coffee company, Luckin Coffee. I've had this on a list that I've been watching for quite a while, but never really found an opportunity to trade it. Today it's up 9%, and I haven't had a chance to look at any news this morning. Norm, you're able to tell me what's going on here?
Yeah, so they released earnings. Their loss year over year widened, but that's to be expected in these high growth companies. They're expanding at a very, very rapid pace in China, trying to take over market share as fast as they can from Starbucks. And their quarterly revenue grew something like 500 and some odd percent year over year.
Wow.
So massive numbers. Yeah, massive numbers. 540% is what it grew. So just a growth story here. If you look at a daily on this, it has been, since its IPO, it's bounced around and it has formed this crazy wedge. I pointed it out before and it had a nice breakout from it, so I'll have my eye on it. I just hope it's not too late. Maybe we get a nice little pullback here and get a chance on it.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so I will keep this on the list. It's worth watching. Guys, this is not a low float, but it's not far from it. I see about 29 million shares, I think, on Luckin Coffee. So let's call it a 30 million share float, which means it could trade a little choppy. We'll see what it looks like. All right, moving on.
And it's got a high short float. TI doesn't have its short float listed, but FinViz has it at 50%.
Wow, that is pretty high, actually. Okay, so that's good to know. That may actually fuel the drive up if those shorts are forced to cover. All right, moving on to Canada Goose, our luxury coat manufacturer from here in Canada. Goose, as it's one that Brian from our room keeps an eye on, but frankly, I've found it tough to trade. Generally, it doesn't trade a lot of volume. There's very few days in the year where it actually will be a good trade. Right now, we have 179,000 shares traded on it, or 180,000 it looks like. So, but it's fairly flat. It just gapped up and then it's holding there. I assume this was an earnings play.
Yeah. Earnings play. They beat revenue. They beat earnings, and apparently they have really strong parka sales right now. So, to be expected. The winter forecast is supposed to be pretty cold. A lot of places have gotten cold early. So it makes sense. And I will second your opinion on this stock. I remember when I traded it the first time last summer and I got smoked on it. Its ATR isn't quite as bad as it used to be. It was around $60 and had like a $4 ATR. Now it's down to 176. This one also has a fairly large short float at 25%. So, like you said, it can move rather wildly at times.
Yeah, so I would say, and sometimes the spread can be big. I mean, you can't tell pre-market, but watch at the open, that spread can be very wide, which means you have to set a fairly wide stop as well. So I'm just quickly answering a question on YouTube, guys. Actually, the arrows you're seeing in my chart are not my trades. So in DAS, it will indicate your trades. That's usually on the candle, right? The red or green arrows telling you when you entered or exited a trade. In this case, the arrows are actually, it's a study you can have in the DAS tool, which is the moving average cross. So what it's telling me is every time the 9 and the 20 moving averages cross each other, I get an arrow. If the 9 crosses the 20 to the downside, I get a red arrow. If the 9 crosses the 20 to the upside, I get a green arrow. So that's what it's indicating. So that's a study I have on my charts, and that's why you're seeing all these arrows. That would be crazy if I took trades on everything we're looking at, but those are actually those crosses. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, taking a look. I think we got one that's bouncing around here. So CLVS, which has come up. Let's take Clovis. I know it's been on the list a few times in the last little while, but I thought they just had. They've been on the news. They were on the news like Monday, weren't they? So what's happening today?
You know what? Yeah, they had earnings on the 7th, November 7th, before the market opened. They've been bouncing around a good amount. I have not been able to find any news on them yet. I've looked at about 4 sources. So if you guys see it, let me know.
Yeah, if you guys see any news on it, yeah, it is
This one,
moving.
and it has a 42% short float, so
Jeez.
it's possible it's in a longer term squeeze.
Everybody's everything we're looking at so far has got a big short float, if I can speak. Looking at the daily, it does look like on the daily it's setting up sort of an ABCD pattern. So we've got to watch it in this
Yeah.
range from 5.25 up to about 6, which is sort of where all of the pre-market activity's been in between anyways today. So I would say if it breaks below that, above 5.25 or above 6, it might get very interesting. In here, who knows? It could just chop like it has the last couple of days before it makes up its mind. But for now, I will keep it on the list. Um, Next one I have on my list is one that is not familiar to me. D-Dog. D-D-O-G. What the heck is D-Dog? Datadog. Oh, I did see this morning on an early list I was looking at. I have never run across this stock before. So is this a low
A
float?
recent IPO. It's 20. I have 27 million on it, and 2 point. That's in FinViz and 2.5 in TI.
Wow.
They had earnings yesterday after the close. I have not had a chance to dig into this. It's not really my wheelhouse, and it just popped up, so I haven't done research on it yet. But it IPO'd. I won't be trading this. It IPO'd just under 2 months ago. It looks like.
Right. I don't even remember this IPO, but all right. The pre-market action is not that exciting. But being it's a new symbol, I'll leave it here for now. What the heck, right? Moving down, TECD. What the heck is this? Tech Data. Tech Data Corporation. The daily doesn't look bad, although it's been in this consolidation range. You can see it gapped up a couple weeks ago, middle of October. Now it's just been in this range. Pre-market activity doesn't look that exciting. Any news going on in Tech Data?
Yeah, they are being bought out by Apollo Global, so it's going private for 130 a share, cash, obviously, since it's a private deal.
All right. Okay. Well, look. So then that takes it right off the list, guys. If it's going private at $130 a share cash, it's unlikely to move. And look what happened. This is why it's so flat. I mean, basically right at it's 129.98. It's basically at that buyout price. So it's not likely to move. I am going to actually just take it off my list right away. AMRN, I mentioned because it was a mover from yesterday. This is one that does tend to, move on a daily basis. I don't know. It looks sort of just like a continuation from yesterday. Anything new out on it, Norm?
I'm not seeing any new news. It does have a high short float, so that pop yesterday could have people holding it short concerned and continuing a little bit of a squeeze on it.
Yeah. Well. Yeah, pre-market is not really that exciting for me, so even on a 2-minute view, it's not doing much. I've found AMRN to be a tough trade. I'll leave it for now, but probably not too excited about it. All right, ET Phone Home. Energy Transfer LP. This sounds like a foreign entity. Pre-market is terrible, but boy, look at that daily. It's been pummeled. It's only down 2%, so not huge. Is this just continuing its slide, Norm, or do you know if there's any news on Energy Transfer LP?
Yeah, this is only foreign if the city I live in is foreign to you. This is actually based a couple of miles from my house.
Oh, okay.
Energy Transfer Partners. They essentially build pipelines, amongst other things, for the oil and gas business. I have not seen any fresh news on it, but if I see anything, I'll bring in. It just popped up. Its ATR is tiny. I think it shows up on yours, but it's under 50.
Yeah. I think I've got my ATR filter set at 30, so be aware of that. But I thought I saw it on your list too. Maybe not. Maybe that's just mine. I'm staring at my list. Yeah, 38 cents. So that's why it's showing up here. All right. OSTK. OSTK is a regular mover. It tends to be on and off the list quite regularly, and not necessarily on news. Pre-market is not that interesting to me. I'm really, wow. I haven't looked at the daily a while on OSTK. It really sort of took this run up at the beginning of September and has been falling ever since. They're a company that's reinvented themselves several times to take advantage of whatever it feels like they follow the winds of whimsy out there, whatever they think will sell best.
Flavor of the month club.
Yeah, well, that's my impression
Yeah,
of
pretty much.
Overstock. But anything new on it?
They had earnings yesterday, which put them in play with a drop. I think it's probably just a continuation. As you mentioned, they get into a whole bunch of different businesses to try to take advantage of segments. And because of that, they're somewhat correlated with the price of Bitcoin. Sorry, I was looking up Bitcoin to see what it was doing because they got in the crypto business. They have a whole division of that. They accept Bitcoin. They have for a long time. So if there's a big drop in Bitcoin, it can hit Overstock. It has a 43% short float, and it's a low float-ish at 26 million as well. So it can move quite erratically. I tend to stay away from that one.
Yeah, I'm not fond of it. I'll leave it here in case we want to set some levels on it later, but not one that I'm terribly excited about. Okay, moving down the list, VIPS is another one that I will tell you right up front. Not excited about. It comes on off the on and off the list quite a bit. It's just a jumpy stock that is not. I don't think it's quite a low float, but it certainly acts like one. I don't even expect there to be news on it for this drop, is there?
Yeah, they released earnings this morning.
Oh,
I have not gotten into it because I don't like trading it either. I refer to this one as Chinese garbage generally. Um, it just it moves so strangely. They have earnings. I just haven't been able to get through the results yet.
okay. Well, I'll leave it here so in case some of our members want to trade it, I can set levels for it. But I'll tell you up front, I am not going to be looking at it. Next I've got is SDC as the list grows as we head towards the open here. SDC Smile Direct. I remember Smile Direct. It was on the list a little while ago. I still don't understand how you do dentistry on the web, but there you go. Pre-market is not that great. But it's sort of, if it does lose it, it's coming to a level that might be interesting. It's down, what is it, down 8%? Any particular news on the Smile Direct Club, Norm?
They had earnings last night, and they had a huge loss. It was a bigger loss than expected because of higher expenses. I'll note on this that there's some serious discrepancy on the float. The float per trade ideas is 43,000 shares, which can't be right. The float on FinViz is 105 million. So either way, just keep an eye on that. It's a $13, $12. What is it now? It keeps dropping. It opened at 25 or 22, and it goes down $1 at least every day. But it's a $10 stock with an ATR of
94 cents.
94
Yeah.
cents.
Yeah.
So it almost makes a 10% move every day on average.
Yeah, there you go. Norm brings up a good point, guys. Just to be aware, when we look at the float, we only use it as a rough guideline. So using Smile Direct as an example, you can see here in TI and Trade Ideas, I've got a float of about 42 million shares. If I look up here,
That's 42. Peter, that's 42,000 shares.
Oh my good lord, you're right. There's no letter after it, so it says 42,000 shares. Okay, fair enough. I've got 78 million in DAS, and you said that if I was to flip over to FinViz, it would report something
says
different.
105 million. So, it's not uncommon that the data sources have different amounts on these new IPOs.
Right. So, and here it is, guys, on right here. You can see on FinViz, it's 105 million. So there often will be a discrepancy, which is why we just use it as a general guide. And sometimes it's good to cross-reference like this with different sources. So, all right. Well, Smile Direct, again, I'll leave it on for levels. I do think if it does start to hit the skids today, it might be a good trade, especially as it's heading to what I assume are all-time lows, because it hasn't been trading for very long. Yep. This is all the data we have here. So I'll leave it there for now. And last but not least, I already mentioned it, but we're coming back at it. APDN, it was the crazy trade from yesterday. Let's just go back and look at yesterday. As you can see, yesterday it had closed on the 11th at somewhere around $4, if I recall. It just opened and went crazy yesterday, up, I said 300% at the high, and basically closed at the high. But you can see this is not insignificant. I mean, from 1240 that I'm pointing at right here. Let me mark it on the chart right here, guys. From 1240, where it moved back to VWAP an hour and a half later, right? That's an $8 move, which is twice the price the stock closed at the day before. So so it moved 200% its price from the previous day close. That's a stock you've got to be very careful with. So today it's down 44%. However, I don't even expect there to be news. It's probably just a hangover from yesterday. Is that right, Norm, or is there something new out on it?
Yeah, I mean, it had its news yesterday that it's something about DNA tagging leather goods to be able to trace them to their point of origin. That's what popped. There's a rumor they're going to have a secondary offering today, so that's now getting it to drop.
Okay. All right. Well, if it does, that will... look at the daily chart, guys. It's been on this decline. It has an announcement. It pops way up here. Now it's sort of in the middle of that range, which means it's got a huge area in which it could play today. So it might provide trading opportunities, but keep in mind, it's going to be a risky trade, because is this really a micro float? Is this accurate? I'm seeing like 800,000 shares.
Yeah. It's tiny. It's 250,000 shares roughly.
Yeah. Okay. So if certainly when something's under 1 million shares, guys, huge warning signs on it. If it's the type of thing you're comfortable trading, do so, but do so with great caution. Okay. That would be it. Is there anything else out there
NASDAQ active gainers?
Yeah, I've got that up on the screen. I just thought I'd check in the room to see if there is. Give you guys a chance to post it up there. I have to bring up my email while I'm doing that. So let's check the gainers. CTAC. I don't. This is a low float. I don't. Why is this on the? Oh, this is a volume leader, 3 million shares traded, but it's almost no movement. I don't see anything exciting going on there. FCell is on my list again. Well, isn't that interesting? It was here yesterday, but penny stock, I don't, nothing that frankly we would generally pay attention to in the room. Luckin Coffee we already looked at, AMRN we looked at, APDN. NVTR, wow, that is flat. That's almost looking like a buyout activity. I don't know what's going on there, but it is down 76%. Well, that's not a typical buyout pattern. But look at in the day, it's down 76%, but it's going nowhere. But it's also a dollar stock, or now it's a 33-cent stock. Never mind. And of course, AMD. All right, on the gainers, anything worth looking at that we haven't already identified? Nortech Systems. Up 113% on 200,000 volume, $5 stock. Boy, the daily chart was doing a
2.5 million share float.
Okay, so no, yeah, I'm showing even less here in both DAS and TI, but so it's a low float. I don't know if you have a chance to quickly throw up some news on that. What's driving it up 120% this morning?
Yeah, the low floats on this I generally don't look at. I'll see if I can find it while you go down the rest of that list.
All right, I'll throw it here just in case some of our team want to take a look at it. It's obviously a big gainer this morning, but again, guys, not something we typically trade in our room. So just going back here, CAT, what the? Why am I not even getting?
They had earnings after the close yesterday.
Oh, NSYS?
Yeah, NSY. Yeah, correct.
Okay. This CATW, I don't know what's going on, but I can't even get a 2-minute. I can't get anything but a daily chart on it. That's weird. Well, that knocks it off my list. Plus, it has 5 letters. As soon as I see a stock symbol with 5 letters, I usually ignore it. CLDX doesn't look interesting. Luck and we are D-Dog. TWUO we've traded in the past, but it's not looking that interesting today. Look at the pre-market, right? There's really nothing going on here. SINT. Don't really like the look of that either. It's a $2 stock. Rewalk I like as a company, but I don't like it as a trading stock. RWLK, but it's yeah, it doesn't look tradable. All right, I don't see anything on the NASDAQ gainers or losers that we'd want to add other than that NSYS. Okay, so with that, it's probably time for us to take a look at some of our announcements. Let me just, oh, good Lord.
We'll take a look at some of these you guys are throwing out. SWKS, I know a few people have mentioned Tesla and GE. After announcements.
Yeah, sorry guys, I just pulling up the announcements here.
Oh, and I will fly through announcements. Skyworks has got a nice drop. The pre-market activity is pretty ugly. Tesla looks interesting for sure. It's got nice volume, 250,000 shares, up 2% almost. Nice smooth pre-market action. GE, I tend to stay away from just because its ATR is terrible.
Tesla had a fairly good day.
Yep.
Sorry, no, I was just saying Tesla had a fairly good day yesterday. I did both look at it and trade it a little bit once at least yesterday, and it wasn't bad. So maybe it'll have another day today. Here we go. At long last, I've got some announcements for us to take a look at. All right.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, there you go. The Trade Ideas Fall, I'm going to fly through these because we're running a little bit behind. Trade Ideas Fall Test Drive is currently ongoing. You can get 10 days tested out for $8.99, which is a heck of a discount to get 2 weeks of Trade Ideas. And then the new scanner contest, in line with the Trade Ideas Fall Test Drive, anybody that comes up with a new scanner, has a scanner that they've been using that they really like and have tested out, check the forums. AB will post a link. We're going to have a contest to win an iPad, or Andrew said if you prefer, he'll do an iPhone 11 Pro, I think. So check that out. We'd love to have new scanners for the room. So not only will you get the prize, but you'll have the glory of adding scanners for the room to be able to trade off of as well. This coming weekend, the Clearwater Beach, Florida meetup, November 16th. Andrew's going to be there. Ryan's going to be there. Ed Martin from Average Joe Trading will be there. And actually the guy that owns the software that runs the chat room will be there as well. So, and I think there are something like 50 people expected. So a nice big meetup. You guys can make it. I'm sure it'll be enjoyable. Come have a drink on Andrew. Right now you can get 35% off the lifetime membership, the one-time payment membership, using the promo code PREMARKETLT35. So pre-market LT35, if you'd like to either get a membership or upgrade, you can do so with that code. Next week, Tuesday, November 19th at noon Eastern, we are going to have Robert Green of GreenTraderTax.com in the room doing the webinar. He'll be talking about all things taxes for traders. If you are trading and you just started in the last year, you have not dealt with taxes before, and you are a resident of the U.S. or subject to U.S. taxes, I would highly recommend attending that webinar. We will record it, hopefully, as long as he allows us to, and have that in case you can't make it. But he'll be talking about trader tax status, Section 475 mark-to-market accounting election, wash sale rule, all that great stuff. And then if you're watching us on YouTube and you'd like to try out the chat, you can do so for 1 week. Use the promo code PREMARKET24, does not auto-renew, and does not turn into another kind of membership. Also, if you subscribe and hit the notification bell, you'll be notified whenever we go live with new content. Thank you, guys.
All right, that was turbo speed. Thank you, Norm. All right, because he is correct. We are running behind. So let's get to some levels to make sure we can get through these. I'll start with Tesla. Oh, sorry. Go
Take a
ahead.
look at GE isn't doing a whole lot. I mean, it's moved 15 cents, but Tesla and SWKS you might take a look at that people called out.
And let me just get
I don't
there.
like the pre-market action at SWKS. It doesn't really have any volume. It hasn't had much going on recently, but it's got a big drop. So
Well, let's start right there. SWKS, I do not like the pre-market action. Indeed, if I was to set levels, guys, I would look at the bottom of this candle, which happens to coincide with the pre-market low, or pretty close. The low here is 94.59, so I will just put a level in there. If I can get it here, I'll just configure it. 94.59 at the low, and then I would put one at the top of this area because this is the gap. If it's going to drop, it might go and fill this gap here today, but that would probably be it for levels on SWKS. Tesla, you can see I've been looking at this for a while, so I got levels all over the place. Let me clear them all because now that it's had this run up, this is certainly, and now it's back approaching the high of this area here. So I'll put a level up here at roughly 378. And then, what is the top of this candle where it peaked out here? 387. Man, this thing moves a lot. 387.46. That's, let me put this properly at 387.46. Was that the all-time high? I can't remember. No, it went up to 400, didn't it? Maybe not. It's pretty close. It's pretty close. 389, it looks like it hit. Anyways, it's actually getting back towards that level, which shocks me, frankly, but hope springs eternal on Tesla. I like what Elon's trying to do, but I'm not sure about the valuation of the company. However, we are technical traders, so it doesn't matter, does it? We just follow what the stock tells us. All right, so those are the couple of levels I would put onto Tesla. GE, as Norm points out, GE, it can actually move steadily, but on a normal day, it does not do anything. And you have to be careful because when the retail, I'll say, volume comes out of it, you can clearly see that the algorithms just start trading it. And when the computers start trading it, it'll bounce within a 1 penny range all day. GE is in this consolidation area. It's been for 4 days. You see I've got the previous 2 days highs and lows, which are just clogging this up, as well as today's pre-market low. Frankly, I don't think I need any more levels. I will just leave those. If it goes out of those bounds, I would consider it after that. So, having done those three at the bottom, let me go back to the top and I'll work my way down. Luckin Coffee. So, obviously I had a level here from before. Wow, look at this. Right now it's hanging out right at this high here at 21.86. I will put a level there. Moving back on the daily, I also see a level here at 22.96. Seems like it likes to bounce right before whole numbers. Something to keep in mind, perhaps. And I don't know whether I should expect it to go up this high. However, it put in a high here at 26.38, so I will throw in a level there at 26.35. If it goes to the downside, frankly, I've got a bunch of levels from the previous days that will cover me there, as well as right now it seems to be well above VWAP. So that's good for Luckin. Goose. Goose, goose, goose. This daily is a little all over the place here. Well, we've got the 200 moving average on the daily that's coming right in here at 44.73, so I'll put a level there. It roughly cuts across the top of this candle you can see, and this candle back here on the 1st of October. It doesn't quite hit the one from September the 13th, so I will put another one at the top of that level of September 13th. Other than that, I don't see any real obvious levels, except for I like right here. You notice this is in the middle of the action. See where it sort of bounced and went back up, and then it came up and hit it and wasn't able to break through for a couple of days. So that may be a level which it may observe, but we will see this morning. CLVS. I'm going fast, guys, but I'm conscious of time a little bit. CLVS, I've got a bunch of levels. The previous day highs and lows are in here, giving me some levels already. I'm going to throw in a level right here at the bottom because I like how it's come off of this 527 a couple of times. And if I just expand my daily chart, there's a level up here at 6.25. Remember, I mentioned that roughly matches with what I was seeing for this range, this sort of ABCD pattern on the daily, and it seems to be supported by this previous range that lasted from August straight through the middle of September, right? It was actually in that range for that entire time as well. So we'll see what happens on CLVS. D-Dog. D-Dog. All right, so this is all the data I have on D-Dog because it is a recent IPO, as Norm pointed out. The all-time high then was, it looks like on its day, in its opening day, which was 41.44. So I will put a level up there at 41.44. And I'm going to put a level down here. Because it's below the price action, I'm actually going to pick the top of this candle so that way I get an early warning. 37.97 is the top of the candle. I'm going to leave my level at 38 because if it breaks 38, who knows what will happen on it. It is up this morning, but we'll see. And that's probably it for D-Dog. AMRN. AMRN, wow. I don't like the look of the daily on AMRN. It is just bopping all over the place here. I'm going to leave all the levels I already have. You guys see that I've got one already marked at this peak here at 23.88, and then from the previous day highs and lows, it pretty much matches. You can see sort of where AMRN kept bouncing. I don't know if it's going to be big in play today, so I'm just going to leave those with the lowest one I've got on this chart at 13.97. So that's a huge range for AMRN. I doubt it'll exceed those levels. ET, I want to say ET phone home every time. All right, so it's at 11.30 right now is the current price, and it is not quite an all-time low. Let's go back here to where it was actually lower than that, which was back in 2016, it looks like. So I'm going to throw a level down here at, what is the low of these candles? 1050. Over here is 1080. So I'm going to throw a level in at 1080 down here. And then another one I'll pick off the top of this candle here, roughly at 860. If it gets there, so be it. I'm not sure I like this one. I do not like the pre-market action, but if you guys are interested, those are the levels I'd be looking at. OSTK, you can see that I had previously marked some levels. They don't match with current things. It's been a while since I've looked at it. Go back to the current daily information. It is heading to, is this an all-time low in OSTK? It may be. It does look like an all-time low. So that would tell me we have no levels down here to read off of. So, yeah, and I've got levels up above from the previous day's price activity, so I'm not going to put any levels there. The low of pre-market is the lowest level we have because that is setting an all-time low. VIPS, I don't like the look of it. Frankly, pre-market high and low are probably the only levels you need. The only thing I will put on this chart is here at about 985. You can see these days sort of bounced off of it in case it drops. Not something I'm going to trade today. SDC, I'm going to throw a level at $9.10 roughly. I can see there's a couple of days that sort of rounded a bottom here, came back up. Obviously, it's now heading back down. It will be significant if it gets down to the $9 mark. And then if, for whatever reason, it reverses course, there is a level up here roughly at 1340. So I'll throw that in. APDN we've already talked about. I can't imagine a level that would be relevant on this. I really don't know. It had such a huge gap. I will put one here just because at roughly $10, you can see it bounced off of this level. $10.15 roughly. I'll throwing one in here because it came off of it a few times. Right now it's trending $2 above it, but with how much it moved yesterday's, goodness only knows where it's going to go with such a low float. Last but not least, NSYS. And I know I've been talking really fast, guys, so if you have anything that you need, throw it into the comments, either on YouTube or in our chat. I'll do my best to take a look at it. But on NSYS, I really struggle saying that. All right, what is the high here of these candles? $5.50. Sounds like a good place for a level right there. There's a crazy couple of days where it peaked way up here at 8. I wouldn't expect it to go back there, but you never know with a stock that's got movement like this and a really low float. And if it drops from here, actually, no, I'm going to put one more sort of across the top of these candles, roughly at $5, just because it was a consolidation area. Like I said, if it does drop, I would look for it somewhere around here, around $4, 4.25 maybe. It's not a great level because it was sort of just generally sliding through that, but see how it sort of, sort of set a range that it was trading in. All right, so that's it for the stuff on my list. I see you guys are saying APDN is dropping. Oh, look at that. See, look at this. Talk about a stock you've got to be really cautious with. This is a great lesson, object lesson, guys. Look how it was sort of moving a little bit. You might think safe taking a trade. I do not have anything for short on this, so I couldn't even short it if I wanted to. But look at that. In a 2-minute candle, it dropped $6, 50%. Damn. All right. Well, that reinforces my desire not to really trade it. Okay. Well, ran through that quickly. One thing I'll just reinforce, guys, in the room here, we're always trying to add things that are of value and that to all of our members. So for all of our members that get to take advantage of the tools that we've had Benzinga News for a while. We've added the squawk feature, which sort of announces out if you turn it on. The news, and because of that, we will be keeping our room open earlier and later, so you can take full advantage of that. So it's a great new feature in addition to all of the other stuff you get by being a BBT member, and we'll keep looking at new things to add. So with that, thank you guys for joining us on YouTube. We will get ready for the open here. I've got a few minutes to get my charts in order and get set for the open. Trade safe. I'm not seeing anything that I absolutely love, despite all the stuff on the list here that we just went through. If I was to narrow it down, I will probably keep an eye on Luckin Coffee. Right now, frankly, Tesla looks something that I would probably keep an eye on. And GE in case it moves, but I don't have high hopes. And frankly, that's about it. The other things I would put on a secondary list, it's almost like if it shows up on the gappers list, then I'll take a look at it. Things like SDC, DDOG, CLVS, right? They may put in good moves, but I'll wait and see if they show up on my scanners. All right. Whew.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks,
Just
guys.
a reminder, those of you on YouTube, Peter has been kind enough to hop in and help me out with the pre-market show this week. It is a lot of work to do it, and we appreciate all of you guys watching. Carlos had a baby over the weekend. You remember his wife called him during the pre-market show on Friday a few times. I knew exactly what was going on. They had their baby Sunday. He will be back, and he and I will be doing this again Monday, is my understanding. So everybody, shout out, big thank you to Peter.
Yeah, well, thanks for that, Norm. I appreciate it. It makes me appreciate Carlos even more for what he does every morning. So we'll give him a big warm welcome when he does come back into the room, and we're very happy he's taking time with his young and growing family. So thanks, guys. We'll say goodbye to everybody on YouTube and rejoin everybody back in our chat room. Take care, everyone.
Take care, guys. Trade safe.